Hello, welcome to Chapter 9, Homework Questions 103 to 109. Question 103, find the volumes of the solids below. First one we're looking at is a cylinder with a hole. So we'll find the entire cylinder's volume, and then we'll find the hole's volume, and then we'll basically just subtract those two to figure out what the cylinder is without the hole in it, or with the hole in it. So first thing is, let's find the area of the base. So to find the area of the base here, we're going to be looking at a circle, so that's pi r squared. R is going to represent the distance from the center to the outside here, so since it doesn't give us exactly that, but it gives us 1 centimeter and then 1 centimeter for the hole, we know that the radius will then be 1.5. So the area is 1.5 squared times pi, or 2.25 pi. Then we can go to find the volume, since we know that the height is 7, so we'll take the area of the base, which is 2.25 pi, and multiply that by the height of 7. And that will be 15.75 pi. And I'm going to leave it in exact form right now. I'm not going to plug pi in just yet, because we are going to have to subtract something. So this right here represents the volume of the whole cylinder. And so now we're going to look for the volume of the hole that's in the cylinder. So this one has an area equal to pi. The radius of the hole is 0.5, so 0.5 squared, so the area will be equal to 0.25 times pi, and then therefore we can find the volume by taking 0.25 pi times the height, which is still 7. So that'll be 1.75 pi. And so now we have the whole volume and then the hole's volume, so we'll take those two and subtract them. So this will be the volume of the entire thing that we're looking for. So this will be 15.75 pi minus 1.75 pi. And then since we left them in terms of pi, now we can subtract them to get 14 pi, and that would be our exact answer, and then we can plug that in the calculator and see what it approximates to. And then we will get a value of approximately 43.98. So 43.98, and this is measured in centimeters cubed. So that's part A. Part B, we're going to look at a regular octagonal prism. So we're going to have to find the area of its base, just like we did the cylinder. So to find the area, we're going to be looking at the triangle that is formed here. So let's go ahead and I'm going to erase this for a second. I'm going to make that triangle a little bit bigger so I can work with it here. And so this is an octagon. So let's see here what we got. We know it's 2, so that means this is 1 and 1. And then we need to find the angle measure right here first. So since it's 8 sides, you can take 360 and divide that by 8. That'll give us 45, but I only need half of that. So half of 45 is 22.5 degrees. And I'm looking for the height of the triangle, so I'm going to use the tangent ratio. So tangent of 22.5 degrees is equal to the opposite side over the adjacent side. And then we can multiply by h and then end up dividing 1 by tangent of 22.5 degrees. And then the height will be approximately 2.41. And so then we can find the area of the triangle, which would be 1/2 base, which is 2, times the height, 2.41. So that'll be 2.41, because half of 2 is 1, so 1 times 2.41 gives us the area there. And then we have a total of 8 of them, 8 triangles inside the octagon, so 8 times 2.41. And I went ahead and left the whole number, 2.4142 in the calculator, so it gave me a little bit more of an exact answer, or a little bit closer, I guess I should say. So the area I came up with was 19.31, And if you would have plugged in 2.41, you would have got 19.28. So mine's a little bit more accurate because I left this whole number in there, not just the 2.41. So that's the area of the base, 19.31. So we'll just say that the base area is equal to 19.31 approximately, and that would be measured in feet squared. So now to find the volume, we're going to take the volume, we're going to take the area of the base and multiply it by the height of 7, and then that will give us a volume of approximately 135.17 feet cubed. Question 104. Jillian is trying to construct a square. She has started by constructing two perpendicular lines as shown at the right. If she wants each side of the square to have a length of k, as shown below or to the right, describe how she would finish her construction. So I have the answer below. I'm going to kind of show you what it would look like, but she should construct an arc centered at P with the radius k so that it intersects N and M each once. So you would have your compass on point P, and then make sure you have that same distance as K, and then you would basically draw an arc, meaning that this distance to here and here would have to be that same distance of K. So that kind of gets the 3 vertices, and then you'll construct 2 more circles with radius K centered at R. So if we label this R and S, you would do it again, and it would create, once again another arc. Maybe that's not the best, and then another one. And then ideally what's going to happen, mine aren't drawn very good, or very well, but it would make that intersection the fourth vertex. And then you would be able to create that square with that length of K. So, not the best drawing, can't really do that on here in terms of constructing, but gives you an idea of what it would look like. Question 105, without using a calculator, find the sum of the interior angles of a 1002 gon. Show all the work. Alright, we know that the sum of the interior angles of a polygon is equal to 180, and then n minus 2, so this is 1002 minus 2. So that works out nicely, because that would put it right down to 1,000. And then without the calculator, we would know that 1,000 times 180 would be 180,000. So that would be the sum of the angles would be 180,000. 106. York County, Maine is roughly triangular in shape. To help calculate its area, Sergio has decided to use a triangle to model the region, as shown at the right. According to his map, the border with New Hampshire is 165 miles long, while the coastline along the Atlantic Ocean is approximately 100 miles long. If the angle at the tip of Maine is 43 degrees, as shown in the diagram, what is the approximate area of York County? Alright, so the Atlantic Ocean side we have as 100, and the New Hampshire side we have as 165. Alright, we need the height of the triangle, so let's draw in. We need to be able to make sure we're able to use the 43 though, so let's draw in the height from this vertex over here. We want to make sure that's a 90-degree angle. That way we can use our trig ratios. We have the length over here as 165. And we have an angle of 43, and we're looking for the height. So let's see if we're going to use this angle and that side. So we have the hypotenuse, and we're looking for the opposite. So that means we're going to use sine. So we'll say sine of 43 degrees is equal to the opposite, which is the height, over the hypotenuse of 165. So the height is equal to 165 times sine of 43 degrees. So that will be approximately 112.53 3 miles. And then therefore we can find the area, because now we have the height. So we'll do 1/2 times the base, which this base would be, well, I guess I got to do both of them, don't I? So I got to find or no, that's right, 1/2 base times height. So that's 1/2 times, sorry, I got confused with myself. Base is 100 times the height, which is 112.53. Now you should still have that one in your calculator, so just leave it as 112.5297, whatever, because that'll give you a more accurate answer. So if you times that by 100 or by 50, if you already multiplied it by 1/2, that will get you your answer. So the area is approximately 5,626, and we'll just go with 0.5 miles squared. Question 107. This problem is a checkpoint for exponential function problems. First thing is to graph y equals 2 times 0.75 raised to the x power. I didn't put the graph paper on here. I must have missed that one, so we'll just do a sketch. 2 is your initial, so that means it's going to be starting on the y-axis at 2, and then it grows 0.75 each time. I'll get a couple points plotted. You can also use your graphing calculator and use your table to do this as well. So it is decreasing. That's the 0.5 multiplier, so it is going down. Not a great sketch, but do yours on graph paper. Make it look a little bit better than that. Part B, write the equation for the exponential function based on the table at the right. So we know it's an exponential function, so we got to figure out how much it's growing by. So the question is 23 times what is going to give you 52.9. So if you divide by 23, so if you take 52.9 and divide by 23, that will find the multiplier. So B is 2.3. So we can, multiply by, the 52.9 times 2.3, and we should get 121.67, and we can multiply that by 2.3 again, and that will fill out the table to be 279.841. Didn't necessarily say fill it in, but then we can write the equation. We also need to go back to the initial. So if we work back from 23, we can take 23 and divide it by 2.3 to figure out what our initial is, and that will be at 10. So the equation would be y equals 10 is our initial, multiplier 2.3 raised to the x power. On part C, the population of Flood River City is now 42,000. Experts predict the population will decrease 25% each year for the next 5 years. What will be the population in 5 years? So a couple different ways you could go about doing this one. I'm going to write the equation. Y is equal to the initial population is 42,000. It's decreasing 25%, so it starts at 100 and then decreases 25%, so your multiplier is 0.75 raised to the x, and then I'm just going to turn around and plug in 5 years for x, plug it into the calculator, and see what that population will be approximately in 5 years. So you get a value of 9,966.79 or 8 or whatever. But it is population, so let's round it to the nearest person. So in 5 years, the population will approximately be 9,967 people. All right, and then part D. A share of orange stock that was worth $25 in 2000 was worth $60 in 2010. What is the annual multiplier and percent increase? So this is one I did earlier where we need to be able to figure out what the multiplier is. We are given the initial though, so let's see what we can do here. We know that I'm going to write it as an ordered pair. At time 0, or 2000, it was at 25, and then in 10 years, it was in 60. So we have the initial, which is $25. We need to figure out what that multiplier is. So let's write an equation. We have y is equal to ab raised to the x. We know what the a is, so I'm going to use the point 1060. So we have 60 is equal to, so the initial is 25, the b value we don't know, and then the x is 10. So we'll divide by 25. 2.4 is equal to b raised to the 10th power. So to undo that, we're going to have to take the 10th root to get the b value. So on your calculator, if you're using a graphing calculator or Texas Instrument, you should be able to go to math, and it will be number 5. But before you press that, you need to press the 10, so that you're going to say the 10th root, and then you can plug in 2.4, and that will give us b, as approximately 1.09. So the multiplier is approximately 1.09, and it could be exactly because of where we're going here, but 1.09, which then means the percent increase. Remember, we started 100, so that would be 1, and then that 9 represents the 9%. So percent increase would be at 9%. Question 108, copy the following words and their lines of reflection onto your paper, then use your visualization skills to help draw the reflected images. So I went ahead and just put this on there so you could see it. For part A, you can see how they reflect across the horizontal line, and you can kind of just visualize it now that you can see it, but definitely, try it on your own first before you just look at the answers, though. Question 109 is multiple choice. Solve this problem without a calculator. Examine the triangle below. Find the approximate value of x. Use the values in the trig table below as needed. So we're looking for the value of x. So we have 62 degrees. We can use, this would be sine, be opposite over the hypotenuse. So if we think about this, I'm going to write this down to see what we have, but be sine of 62 degrees is equal to x over 10. So if we can solve for x is equal to 10 times sine of 62, well, we have sine of 62 right here. So this would be x is equal to 10 times 0.883. So then x would be equal to 8.83, and that looks like C is our answer.